Well, Fox, I see what you've done here. Not impressed, but obviously, while we're trying to get resources in here, I wouldn't imagine you not to do this. Now, he's a Fox guy. He's not a CNBC guy or CNN. John, he's about as right as you can get, honestly, but he's center right. Let me give you some numbers. He does stock markets. He just doesn't train kids or make it farms. He corners and does space-time drills on weaponry. Those are ways to get value out of things as a soldier here. Now, I watched a little bit of it, and he made a couple of mistakes that, John, I love you, but you're too close to the church in this one. Let me rephrase this. As a soldier, are they fighting to beat the enemy, or are they fighting to join the army, or are we supplying the army? You have to look at it from this situation as if anything in here, a great soldier would be soft, the wrong person for certain techniques, and the mass count outdoors is nasty. Now when we do realize, hey, we are greedy, we are a bit racist and xenophobic at times, but that part of quantum mechanics in a diagram is necessary for things. Do people conduct that correctly is a totally different subject.
Full disclosure, my Instagram profile, my pronoun is listed as attack helicopter, so you can let everyone know exactly where you are. So yeah, the military has a very specific and strategic job, and that's to keep our country safe.
Let me talk about that for a moment, for a second. What do you think he means, guys, in the militia when he says our country? I'm not talking about a civilian soldier. I'm not talking about a civilian. I'm not talking about a soldier. I'm talking about one of our soldiers in the militia. What do we fight for?
Them in to be the front line of a sociological experiment which has a pernicious ideology.
You think we could use John in the
mill? That makes people hate the United States.
Well, of course we could.
A soldier can very quickly start to despise the very thing he's supposed to be protecting.
Yeah, the military you learn to go to those places.
Learning that its country.
And you work in the mill and you realize you can only climb as high as the ladder will let you. You know, from here you can take those skills, but you're not going to take the pay gradient with you when you go leave the farm. And that thing can turn on you. It doesn't matter whether you're a soldier. It's an MOS position in a computer chip. MOS chip, C65W22 chip. You know, we're not registering from a soldier's perspective. They may not understand that they have a timing switch on it. But I understand, given his program as a soldier, you know, most of the other AO ports are already taken up by the main program, Hello World, run timing sequences, and so on and so forth, just by running loops on that sequence of the schematics, whatever OP brief that you got. It's a resume, it's an application, it's site management, fire control technician. And you can learn to hate that on the positive side.
And xenophobic and greedy, and it steals land. And so why in the world should I defend something that is evil and awful? And the answer is no, only evil people would defend evil things. And
so only evil people really would, but what if they're not as intelligent based on the test? You mean, you go to the ASVAB, you run the test, you run MOSs, you stand in masonry, National Guard, what do you think you're going to be doing? You know, when it comes to, well, this is an evil sort. Yeah, well, drywall's cheap, but you don't need hardscaping. You can do it all out of concrete and resin pours to make whatever countertop you want. You don't need rock like that, but is it evil?
And so it's really less about whatever little headline is happening right now. It's really more about the totality of what wokeism is doing in the military in general. The whole structure,
I'm going to have to steal money from you. I'm going to have to do it at the gravitational mathematical average over what I do your site for. I wouldn't do that any different to anybody else. But at the heart of that situation, I have to approximate the range plus time for my day. Now that feels like gravity, but what X's in the algorithm go there?
Are you studying the enemy's playbook to war against them or to join them? And judging by things like the Afghanistan withdrawal, it looks like we're more interested in supplying them all kinds of weapons that will absolutely be used and have been used to kill innocents. And so
again, when you go through everything in the tool cabinet of the Masons, this has been used to kill innocents for a long time. Usually it's more of a parasitic example instead of a malignant one. In the regards that, yes, you might heal from this, but you also might get a better antibiotic out of this. You know, it's like, I hardened you a little bit. This is your first time. I'm not some kid that I'm taking advantage of every day. And let's use that statement in consideration for certain countries. What's going on in here about what happens when the soldier numbers, what do we fight for in here? You know, it doesn't matter what ground I'm on. This is my base now. And how do we do that? The only way I can run my base is to know those numbers. Congruency and conservation information says, you know, in some degree we have to share some similarities in here. These maps, even in different languages or structures or relative perspective, spin, motion, or whatever, have to at least still be congruent in here.
So,
and
I wonder,
it's not worth putting it into
reading
anything that does that, but
them
somebody might
or
argue
to
protracted
defeat them?
warfare,
And it looks like the
guerrilla
former, not the latter.
warfare.
My background was in special operations,
computer warfare.
and I'm forever connected to that specific
You know, we walk
brotherhood.
over there with the 45
And I do
and
know
we
that
find you
that
doing all
type
kinds of crazy
elite
shit.
soldier, whether it's
We don't have the
Army
camera on the
Rangers
overhead.
or SEALs or Special Forces, they are highly pragmatic.
Oh,
they're
you think doing
intelligent,
blow
and
off
they're
the
very
computer and
impervious to
banging the
bullying.
hookers what you should do during your work
They're
hours,
not
huh?
woke. They don't go woke.
Well,
you
if you
can't
could
make
find
them
that.
be woke. Wokeism forced upon the military.
You know, I
will
robot for these
absolutely make
positions, I
you
mean,
lose
that's
your
what it
most elite
is, you know.
soldiers. We'll lose them. If we can't get strong leaders who understand that their job in the military is not to play sociological games,
John,
but it's to
you're a
keep
soldier.
our borders
The
safe
game is,
from
well,
all enemies,
all of a
foreign and
sudden, up until the
domestic.
point where you could die.
We're in serious
COVID's out there.
trouble.
We have population
That's
problems.
problems that
Mecha
we
highs
cannot
out there
survive.
with the
There's an
automation
ancient
and
quote
arbiters that could take
by
your job
a
like that. Be
warrior poet
cheaper.
named
People
Thucydides.
have the money on
And
the
he
overhead, and we got
says,
all kinds of mathematics outside. Now, you might
the
call
state
me
that
evil.
separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking
And
done
it
by
would be
cowards
that
and
by
its
the rules
fighting
out there
done by
today. Why would
fools.
we defend it?
We have to have strong military leadership that cares about pragmatic, in real world
Well, it's a rabid
results
population.
to
Go out
keep
there, start
people
shooting
physically
actual
safe.
heroin addicts. I'm not
They're
looking, oh,
everyday
well, that one's clear. No,
Americans.
no.
They're
It's like they got a needle
civilians,
sticking out of
they're
their arm.
military, they're
That
police,
is first
they're
contact, them
EMS,
shooting at you
they're
first.
doctors, bankers, lawyers.
You're
They're
out
all
in the middle of the
us, and
street
that's
for the
what we're
world to
after. We're
see.
after the common
Just like we
man,
put them soldiers out
who
there to
loves
do that.
freedom
Them cops can do that.
and,
But
who
for
lives
some
for higher
reason, between A
purposes,
to
ready
B
to
inside
sacrifice
here
in
on the
the defense
battlefield,
of others.
the
And
best soldiers that they
that's the whole
have
idea.
have a gun and will shoot one in the face.